This is a slightly new format, a first impression series called SnapShot. Quicker, smaller, more bite-sizey videos about stuff that I wouldn't normally cover in the PC FPS game kind of sphere, but they are interesting all the same and they are worth talking about. So first up we have Anthem's VIP demo. I played a bunch over the last couple of days, and with the free open demo next weekend, let's answer that all-important question: is it worth downloading and playing? Well, before I jump in, I saw some people streaming and I wasn't overly optimistic. Straight out of the gate, the Narrow FOV, field of view, spoils the viewing experience for me. It's a very console-y view of the world that's unsuited to PC gaming, where the player is so much closer to the screen. It's not a game that reveals itself well when you're watching over someone else's electronic shoulder. Also, the gameplay is reminiscent of titles such as Warframe or Destiny, and although I've enjoyed both of those, to differing amounts I must say, it looks like an evolutionary step rather than some new, never-experienced-before gaming slate cleaner. In fact, with the Javelin mechanical suits, it also has a whiff of that highly regarded Titanfall 2 as well. Once I had played for a few hours though, I was much more convinced. That toilet roll vision field of view is less of an issue when you're controlling the camera, but it certainly still needs looking at for the PC. The actual experience of killing mobs, the way the weapons feel, the way the abilities feel, the feedback on doing damage and getting kills is really quite fun and rewarding. The abilities especially seem to have a shorter cooldown than you might imagine, so they always seem to be up and ready for use. So battles turn into an almost superhero fantasy of flying about, massive explosions and combat, and a huge power fantasy. It's a lot more fun than it looks like watching on stream. One of the main Anthem draws are the suits themselves, basically the class system of the game, and the flying in particular. The controls for the flying I found initially to be odd, and eventually after some practice, odd but manageable. The Narrow FOV rears its head here too. If your character is bumping objects while flying, the camera swings around and actually gave me motion sickness for the first time I could remember in any PC game. The flying is core to the experience of the game though. It lets you access one of the game's massive strengths, and that's the gloriously beautiful environment that all the action inhabits. If you want to point to an area where Anthem is head and shoulders above rivals in similar genres, you'd say the visuals were a big win for Anthem. Sound design too is worthy of note. There's lots of depth and variety to weapons, abilities and enemies and so on. If someone does something cool, there's normally a seismic audio cue to let you know about it. The weapon noise doesn't have that sort of intimacy that a Battlefield title manages, but the combination of the sound effects and the music are accomplished and polished to a high enough level to give a genuine cinematic feel. I'd advise playing with some decent hi-fi headphones if you can. Performance isn't one of the game's strong suits though. I know my machine isn't exactly cutting edge now, but I really did struggle to maintain 60 FPS even within the safe zone, NPC only fought parts of the game. I've seen others with higher spec machines not have tremendous frame rates either, but I certainly found it to be playable after tweaking some settings. So to answer that headline question, the Anthem demo, is it worth playing? I'd say if you like these types of games, so PvE shooters, you enjoyed Warframe, Destiny or even Titanfall, I'd actually widen that to include things like Path of Exile and Diablo 3 as well. I'd 100% recommend you download the demo this week from Origin. You can pre-download it now, it's about 50 gigabytes, and try it out for yourself. Don't just judge it based off watching others play. I actually found the demo to be pleasantly more difficult than I imagined too. I got a genuine feeling of accomplishment from only just struggling to beat some of the boss-like enemies in the game. There's not a lot of face tanking and holding your mouse button down, you're certainly kept busy. The demo is basically 3 story missions, free roam and some other stuff. There's not a huge amount of content that you're going to be grinding for days, it'll take you a few hours to get through it all. As for the final game, well, this is a demo, with demo level rewards and costs and leveling and so on. We also don't know what the end game looks like either. I'd look on this demo as you deciding whether you like the weapon feel, the different javelins, and the general playstyle. Actual judgment on the final release game, and whether things like the FOV adjustment are actually implemented, are a job for final release reviews. I have a bunch of other things to say about Anthem, but I want to exercise a brevity not shown in my other videos and keep this succinct. Maybe if you find people want to hear more, I'll do another video. All the usual stuff, press subscribe, press the thumb, thank you all for watching, I will see you next time, take care.